Hi, yeah, how's it going? Now, in my 30s and early 40s, I struggled to understand how often to work out, how much to do at the gym, and whether I was even doing enough for my age to make progress. Now, as a result, that meant I was either training far too much and looking and feeling like crap, or I wasn't doing enough and I was getting nowhere. But then I figured out a 3-dial system, I suppose, that changed everything for me. And now it means at 49, I'm in better shape than I was at 31, and I train a grand total of 3 times a week for 45 minutes. Hi, by the way, I'm Chris. I'm a dad of 3, just trying to stay in shape myself, but I've also been coaching guys over 40 for 16 years now. But I want to get back to these 3 dials. I want to show you what I discovered so you can start twiddling your dials and getting in shape faster. So every weekly workout plan has these 3 main dials that you need to adjust, almost like the graphic equalizers we had on our hi-fis back in the 90s, glorious days. Our first dial is intensity, so how hard you push yourself. Second dial then is frequency, how often you train. And then the third dial is volume, how much work you actually do. Now, to make progress after 40, you need to turn 2 of those dials up high and keep the other one low. If only 1 dial is turned high, that's not enough to get anywhere. But also, if all 3 are whacked up full, that is too much, especially after 40, when recovery becomes a little bit harder. Now, I misunderstood how important it was to balance these 3 dials as I got older, and I know I'm not alone because it's very common for guys our age to struggle with all of this. And it's this misunderstanding that leads us to fail with our workouts in one of 3 ways. The first problem we run into is analysis paralysis, where building your own workout plan feels confusing, so you don't start at all. You're stuck researching the perfect program, following lots of gurus online instead of just doing something. Second problem we hit is just dabbling. So you do start working out, but you just do lots of random stuff until it feels like time to go home. You do a bit of chest, a bit of back, a bit of cardio, whatever. There's no real plan, but that means there's no real progress either. Then the third problem we hit is just worrying. You're working out, but you're worrying that maybe you're not doing it right. I'm not pushing myself hard enough. I'm not doing things that are actually going to work and get me in shape. And that doubt makes your whole workout experience just feel awkward and a bit unrewarding. Maybe one of those problems sounds familiar to you. Let me show you what I mean then about what happens when we start fiddling with those 3 dials: frequency, volume, and intensity. So firstly, here's how we can get it wrong with our dials. Scenario 1, only 1 dial is turned up high. So let's say you train 5 times a week. That's high frequency. But your volume is low, you don't do many exercises when you're there, and your intensity is low, so you're not really pushing yourself either. You're going to get nowhere, and eventually you're going to give up. Or maybe your 1 dial that's turned up high is volume. You stay in the gym for 2 hours doing loads of stuff, but intensity is low and frequency is low because you only go once a week. Again, you're going to get nowhere and you're going to give up. 1 dial turned up high isn't enough, okay? But scenario 2, let's say you whack all 3 dials up high. You work out 5 times a week. You stay for 2 hours and train at a very high intensity every time. You train really hard, admirable effort and commitment, but your 40+ body will eventually argue with you after a couple of weeks. You're going to feel like crap. You might get injured. You might throw your hormonal balance out of whack, so your cortisol goes up, your testosterone goes down. It's all too much, and it's also not sustainable. Then we could also have a scenario where you do turn 2 dials up high, but you turn up the wrong 2 dials. Let's say you dial up volume and frequency. So you go to the gym 5 times a week, you stay for a long time doing loads of stuff, but you've kept intensity low. You're not really pushing yourself. That leads to suboptimal results. You feel beaten up. You're devoting lots of time and effort to working out, going to the gym, but you won't get the results that you want. So let me finally share the best 2 dial suggestion. Dial up intensity and dial up frequency. So work out 3 or 4 times a week and train hard, but you do not dial up volume. You keep the volume turned down. What does this look like in practice? So let's say you train Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Each time you do 4 to 5 exercises, 3 sets of each, but you really push yourself on every single set. So last Monday, I did a squat variation, I did a dumbbell bench press, I did a lat pull down, I did some side delt work, and I did some biceps. 5 exercises, 3 sets of each, 15 sets, full workout. But here's the key. I added intensification techniques like static holds and slow negatives to make every single one of those 15 sets super hard. I wasn't just going through the motions. I was really pushing myself for the last few reps, and my muscles were screaming every time. And that was a hard workout, but it was done and dusted in 40 minutes. And here's why this 2-dial approach works. It sends a strong signal to your muscles: respond, grow, get stronger. You leave the gym actually feeling energized rather than beaten up, and it's not so much work that you struggle to recover in time for the next workout. And that short workouts 3-4 times a week fits into your life a whole lot more easier as we get older. So it's 40-45 minutes 3 or 4 times a week. You can fit that into your busy life, I'm sure. And it's understanding these 3 dials in your workout program that's super important after 40, because like I said, our recovery becomes harder. Our testosterone is lower than it was in our 20s. Unfortunately, your cortisol, stress hormone, tends to run a little bit higher too. Stress from work, family, or just life in general. You can't just beat yourself up in the gym 6 times a week like you maybe could have done at 25 and expect to make progress. So 3 dials on our workout hi-fi. Remember, intensity, frequency, volume. Whack the first 2 up, turn the last one down. And that means there's no more confusion for you. There's no dabbling. There's no nagging suspicion that you're doing it wrong. You will know you're doing it right because you will feel energized with a spring in your step after workouts. You will recover well, and you'll also finally see progress again. And by the way, if you want personalized help figuring out exactly what exercises to do, how to structure your week around your schedule, how to make all of this fit into your actual life, I do work one-on-one with guys in my coaching program. There is a link below to book a free 15-minute get unstuck call for that. We can figure out exactly what you need and whether my coaching program is right for you. And of course, if you found this video helpful, share it with a friend who's confused about how to start working out. Save them months of spinning their wheels. Be a good friend. But take care, and I'll talk to you soon.